Yep, thanks, Stace. First and foremost, this is definitely a huge day, obviously in our nation and personally in our household. And I just want to personally thank all the veterans for their service, for their sacrifice. Coming from a military background, my grandfather was a chief master sergeant in the Air Force. My mom works at Langley Air Force Base. My stepdad, also a veteran. I have nothing but appreciation for everything you do, and I think it's important to say, especially when we have the platform to say something. Moving on to the game, kind of hit on it last night. I thought overall, just the message of physicality and just moving guys. I thought, when I watched the film, you could see that for the majority of the game. I thought offensively, we did a good job handling the down guys in the run game, just getting the back started. And it was a stark contrast to the game before, where it was we would get behind the sticks and it would be second and 12 and second and 10, second and 11. I thought this week really, I don't think we had any negative runs in the run game. I think we had a couple of like 4 or 5 no gains, but no negative runs, and that's the way we have to win. This game as a whole, to me, reminded me of the Cincinnati game as far as really controlling the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball and controlling the time of possession. It was very, very similar to that game. I thought the receivers did a better job, blocking in the run game. They did a good job doing that, and then also getting open, catching some balls. Thought Drake went out there and made some plays. I think he'll watch the film and he'll be critical of himself, but at the same time, I think there were some plays that we left out there. The one thing offensively, which was disappointing for me, was just the red area. I thought, going into the game, out of the last 9 drives, we had 8 touchdowns and 1 field goal, and then yesterday to go 1 for 5 was a step back. But I fully anticipate us getting back on track. We'll definitely make that a point of emphasis this week and going forward, as we always have. Defensively, I thought the front did a good job. I thought Farms went in there and definitely gave us a spark. So I was happy to see that. But all those guys, especially the interior guys, for the most part, played pretty well. Now there were a few runs that did squeak through, but I thought they did a decent job for us. The edge at times, I wouldn't say it was a problem, but it was a little softer than we would have liked it to be. I thought the defensive backs really tried to come up and support some of those plays, which was encouraging to see. I think the young players are definitely growing up. I think Marte's taken a step forward, even though he didn't play that much, especially on early downs. I just think his overall communication and control of the defense continues to improve while we don't have the other guys in there. But the linebackers went out there and tried to play hard. I thought Jelani definitely did a good job with the front adjustments and that communication. And also, obviously coming up with the big play as far as the sack. Special teams, Marcus continues to be a huge weapon for us. Our punter, huge weapon for us. Our kicker, huge weapon for us. To be able to go out there and kick a perfect game, 4 for 4 with Joey Sly, and then after that first punt, I thought Bryce really settled in, and his confidence is where we want it to be, where we need it to be, and we're gonna definitely lean on him as far as a guy that can flip the field for us. Saying that, our punt coverage, especially on that first one, we have to do a better job. And look, this is I say it every single week. We have to continue to improve, and we have to improve fast because these other teams are watching that stuff on film as well. And so as we continue to go through the self scout and stuff like that, or even watching this tape, there are definitely things that we have to do better. Now, in closing, I would say, like, this is, we're at this point in the season. This is who we are. We have to go out there. We have to control the line of scrimmage. We have to be able to run the ball. We have to stay ahead of the sticks. We have to play good defense. We have to get off the field on third down, which we did yesterday by a mix of generating pressure and also coverage, and play good special teams. And this is the formula. And as I always say, I use this as a microphone, not only to give you guys information, but also to talk to the players. So players, this is how we need to play going forward.
With that, we'll open up for questions. We'll start with Mike Reese, followed by Chris Ryan.
Jerod, my question is on a new player, Yannick Ngakoue, and I'm curious if he's met with the team yet, and how you see him mixing in.
Yeah, excited to get Yannick here. I've watched him on tape for a very long time, and he's been a very productive player in this league. He has not met with the team yet. and saying that he'll get with the coaches here soon, and excited to really teach him the playbook, and excited to see what he would bring to this team. Look, he's not just a pass rusher. This guy has the skill set to be able to play on all three downs, which is always exciting. And kudos to the scouting department and all those guys for always trying to improve our roster. And we see this as a way of improving us now and going forward.
And just a quick follow-up: have you had a chance, or has anyone had a chance to connect with him to just see, how he feels about coming to the Patriots?
Yeah, I've had a chance to connect with them, and I would say multiple coaches have also, defensive coaches have connected with him, and he's excited for the opportunity, and so are we.
Chris Ryan, followed by Ian Steele.
Hey, Jerod, hope all is well with you. You mentioned earlier, this was probably the best all-around game since week one, particularly when it came to controlling both lines of a scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Why do you think, this week you guys were able to kind of execute that vision that you have had very explicitly out there for the group?
Morning, Chris. I'm not sure. It's the same thing. Last night I spoke about poking sometimes those rookies reaching a point of inflection, and you just don't know when that point's going to be. That's also applicable to a team. That's also applicable to a certain side of the ball. And, I guess now, we'll wrap this game up, but it's about knowing what the formula is and now applying it on a game after game basis. And we have to learn how to string wins together. And that's going to be my message today and going forward.
Part of the formula obviously was having your younger players play instead of the veterans at wide receiver. Do you see that being the same with that position group moving forward? And could that also be, in other position groups where, veterans are kind of pushed aside, if you will, to see what the younger players can do with enhanced roles?
Yeah, my goal, as the head coach is to put the players out there that give us the best chance to win. Elliott and his staff, they have the hard part of, trying to get the roster as well as we can get it now, but also looking for the future. Ultimately, it's my decision, and my decision on a week after week basis to put the best players out there that give us the best chance to win.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ian Steele, followed by Dakota Randall.
Morning, Jerod. Check.
Morning.
Thanks. And thanks for the Veterans Day comments earlier as well. On Drake May, what did you see from him this week in terms of his vocal leadership? He said that's something that he's been trying to work on as he started to play more.
Yeah, I think, look, this is part of the evolution of Drake, and this is something that we've discussed behind closed doors. And I thought he did a good job, not only, going out there executing in practice, but also, having those player-only meetings, and that's what we need from him. We need that. And, anytime you have a quarterback that is as level-headed and, is a smart guy and a competitor, all those things, and a leader, there's no perfect time to do anything. So we just said, hey, let's just do it right now. And he's done an excellent job there. And I look forward to seeing that progress going forward.
Dakota Randall, followed by Sophie Weller.
Hey, Jerod.
Dakota.
Seen Michael Hasty outsnap Antonio Gibson the last couple of weeks. Just wondering, what the reasoning has been for that shift.
I would just say all three of those backs, bring something different to the table. And again, just the last couple of weeks, it was more of a hasty game than a giddy game. And look, that is a week after week discussion, not only at the back spot but at multiple positions on this team.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sophie Weller, followed by Mike Jerod.
Hi, Jerod.
Sophie.
I was just curious. Throughout the beginning of the week last week, we saw Michael Wenu taking snaps at left guard, but then the game you had him at right guard. Just kind of what went into that decision to move him around so much last week, but ultimately put him at right.
Yeah, it just goes back to what's the best lineup that gives us the best opportunity to get movement up front and protect the quarterback, and that's what we thought we were doing. That was the idea behind it.
And then just one more. I was curious about Kendrick Bourne. I asked you a similar question last week, but he was so fired up on the sidelines and even like after the game for a Patriots win, things like that. What is it like to have a player like that who will always be there for his teammates in moments like that, even if he's not necessarily on the field.
Yeah, it's great. It's the selfless attitude that we always talk about, and there's no secret. KB, he brings a lot of energy. It starts with a smile, and then he always just brings the juice, brings the energy, and it's definitely a welcome sight for us here in New England.
Thank you so much.
Think so.
Mike Giardi, followed by Taylor Kyles.
Morning, Jerod.
All right, Mike.
You mentioned the first game of the year against Cincinnati, and later in the year, after a few games, you're like, that's an unsustainable way to win. You just sort of compared this game to that game and said, this is how we have to win going forward. I guess what sort of changed there from your perspective about that and the evolution to now?
Yeah, it's a totally different part of the season, and when I look at that game, to go back, even last week, I went back and watched the first 3 games of the season and just tried to pull out, the things that we did well and the things that people were attacking us on. Now, I said that, weeks ago at the start of the season, and then now, again, reserving the right to change my mind. We can do it. We can do it, and that's what we did last night, and hopefully that's what we do going forward.
Thank you.
I would say just overall, just the physicality of that game compared to this game. I think that's when I say unsustainable back then or sustainable or whatever, it's really the physicality part of it that we need to continue to build on.
Thank you.
Which I would say is sustainable.
The last question, Taylor Kyles.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. It looked like yesterday you had Del Pettis and Curtis Jacobs starting out for you. I know Curtis didn't play quite as much down the stretch, but I was wondering what went into that decision and also what you saw from each of those guys yesterday.
Yeah, look, everyone on the team has to have that next man up mentality, and that's what it came down to. It's first of all availability, and those guys, they come to work every single day and are able to execute and are good athletes. So look forward to those guys continuing to develop.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.